Welcome once again. We are the Vinyl Community Guncles, here with episode number 16.
Wow, sweet 16.
We've got Madonna reviews coming up, inspired by Craig's video that he did a Madonna ranking of all of her albums. I think you have all of them, right?
Yeah, I have Oliver's too, and then a whole bunch of other crap too.
Yeah, so salute to Madonna coming up. Also, we'll review Peter Gabriel's Security album. And let's get started, though, with an idea. First of all, I'm Robert Fitton, along with Mike from HubTunes, Craig from Craig's Vinyl Plethora, and Richard Calvin Wazoo is the name of the channel, who came up with an idea about talking about, singers or band members or whatever, musicians that have passed away, and are there any that affected us? So Richard should start that.
Well, yeah, with the recent passing of the country legend, whose name escapes me right
Loretta
now.
Lynn.
Loretta Lynn.
Jeez.
Coal miner's daughter.
I was not a
This
Loretta.
is off to a great
Sissy
start.
Spacek.
Yeah, she
Yes,
is.
SpaceX.
Loretta
Oh,
Lynn is, not necessarily one of my someone in my wheelhouse, but it did kind of get me thinking about other artists, and particularly of our generation. A lot of them have passed already, and there's going to be more.
Oh, a lot more.
But thinking which one do I really miss? I mean, it's sad and disappointing, when we find out about somebody's passing. But it took me a while to really think of somebody, of a particular artist that, when they died, it really, I knew I was going to miss them, and I really felt some type of sense of loss with that. And for me, that person is going to be
Not Loretta. Yep.
David Bowie. So, I mean, this was the first.
Now
David...
I have to come up with a different one.
Well,
no, I had to. So, but that was.
He was the first album for a lot of things. I mean, that was the first David Bowie album that I listened to. It was the first album I was listening to when I got high for the first time. I followed his career pretty much every album from this one all the way up to which one am I thinking of here? Because
Let's Dance.
Heroes.
Oh.
Up through Heroes, that whole sequence. Then I kind of lost track of him, but when he died, in that last album he did, I do not have a copy of it, but
absolutely spectacular.
Yeah, he was a musician, an artist, and persona that really I made that connection when I was 14 years old, and it's stuck with me ever since. The music just never gets old, and despite some of his foibles over the years, very, very influential and experimental artist. I mean, my God, so many changes.
Wow, I like what you did there. Changes.
Changes. I just completely off topic, but I just read your shirt, Mike, and it's fantastic. I was giggling a little bit. So, and also just because you mentioned Sissy Spacek, and of course, there's all these like tributes to Loretta and everything. There was one I was watching, and it was showing like a span of her career and everything. The ending, the last picture was like, and it was like Loretta Lynn, her birthday or death day or whatever. It was a picture of Sissy Spacek, not Loretta Lynn. I was like,
it really?
Yeah, it was like this whole tribute thing to Loretta Lynn, and the very last picture was Sissy Spacek, and I was like, that's not Loretta Lynn.
David Bowie, though, really went out like no other artist. I'm echoing.
Yes, you are.
which means it's not me because it's never the one talking.
It's David Bowie speaking through you.
Yeah.
But that last video and the whole thing
yeah.
with just wrapping it up, knowing he was going to die, and then, pennies on his eyes, and,
Yeah.
he gets picked up and put in a closet, and the door, put him away, and it's just,
Yeah, it's
wow.
great.
It was really, I would love to do
Powerful.
something like that,
You can.
If
You're
I was,
a Gunkle.
I was a superstar.
It's true.
No one will care when, that happens to me. But, yeah, I thought that was, wow.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody else that have gone to that length to say goodbye to fans,
Mm-hmm.
and just look beyond the personal and friends and whatever.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely brilliant.
Who's next? Anybody else seriously affected by a singer's or musician's death?
I mean, other than, Bowie is the most recent one because I'm a huge Bowie fan. I used to be a completist. I have everything, and I would buy different color variants and all that crap. I don't do it anymore, but because now it's just they're releasing stuff that he didn't want released.
Right,
There's a reason he didn't want it released.
I would hate that, wouldn't you? Michael Jackson, the state was
Prince.
like that, and now Prince, and it's like, I wouldn't want somebody pilfering through my files and taking outtakes of my videos and stuff
Yeah,
and putting them
there's
on
a
YouTube.
reason he said do not release this.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. Bowie's probably the most recent. It really affected me. But I mean, early in my earliest memory, it would be Lennon. It was John Lennon because I was such a huge Beatles fan in 1980. I mean, it was Beatles on. It was like I was a 16-year-old girl in the 60s. I had Paul McCartney on my walls. I had Lennon. My walls were covered with Beatles. And I was a kid in 1980 when he was killed. And I remember vividly what we were doing. We had just moved to Chicago from Boston. We were watching Monday Night Football, me and my dad, and they broke in with that news. And my dad just sat there. My dad didn't say a word. And, he's from that era. The Beatles were a little past his prime. He was probably in his 20s. But, yeah, it affected me like crazy. The music he could have done, who knows what he could have done. Because he was really in a good spot, and I think there was more good stuff coming. I really, really do.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
I remember that day too, and I was living in Tucson, and the news came across. So I would have been about 22 at the time, I think. And yeah, it was one of those situations. It's like, yeah, what do you do? What do you
It
how
doesn't.
do you
It doesn't make any sense. And he just, Double Fantasy had just come out. Yeah, it was awful. And that's probably overall that's the one that affected me the most. But maybe because of my age and how Beatles, I was Beatle fanatic back then. But then Bowie, it's tragic. But man, what a beautiful send off he had. Lennon never had that beautiful send off.
Harry from Harry's Music Room was talking about how he recorded, just
He's a
kept
great
putting
guy.
in tapes and recorded that night. And just people
Really?
calling into radio shows, and he's got those tapes
Oh,
somewhere,
wow.
and he can't find them.
Wow.
I hope
Wow.
he finds them someday and puts them on
that's
YouTube.
crazy.
Because,
Harry's an awesome guy.
He's probably got local stuff from a local station that no one else, has. So, but yeah, I was too young for John Lennon because I didn't know really who the Beatles were. I knew who the Monkees were, and I knew who. But the thing about the Beatles, they were never on KTEL, and they were never at garage sales. So.
Never.
They were not on my radar, and I think I discovered the Beatles when he died because then this flood of the cartoon came back on.
Yep.
And so that's
Yep.
probably why I discovered the Beatles in 1981 was the cartoon. It probably came on because of John Lennon's death and the re-interest in the Beatles. All of a sudden, the Beatles were everywhere. They were on TV, the movies,
Yeah.
when that. And I didn't grow up listening to the radio except for country radio that my, family would listen to. All my stuff was from, like I said, garage sales. Nobody was selling their Beatles stuff. And then KTEL. Because that's what was in the grocery store. That was the only thing that was in the grocery store that you could buy. So the Beatles, I missed the most, influential musical act of the 20th century, but I knew who everybody else was, And the Rolling Stones, too. I didn't really, because, they're not at garage sales and they're not on KTEL. But, yeah, so I didn't really know that much about it when he died.
Was it also wasn't that the first time? I mean, I know that political assassins are always known by their complete name, including a middle name. And was he like the first celebrity assassin that became
Wow.
known by all three names? I'm trying to think of one right
I
now.
think he was the first celebrity assassin,
Probably.
right? And then if there was a whole panic that, what the hell is this? You're not supposed to
Yeah.
walk up and shoot singers.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't think there was another one. Anybody else like a Sam Cooke or something like that was a personal
Yeah.
private. It wasn't a fan walking up and going, "I don't like your new
Yeah.
album. I'm
Right.
going to kill you so you don't sell out
He was,
anymore." You know?
but he wasn't. Yeah, yeah. That was the
I mean,
one.
that's what it was,
thinking.
right? He thought that
Yeah,
he'd sold
yeah.
out with that kind of adult contemporary. I'm just going to watch the wheels. I'm not playing the game anymore, especially that song. And he felt that he had, I
No,
don't know,
Sam
sold
Cooke
out or whatever.
Sam Cooke was who I was going to actually bring up, but yeah, that's a little different.
Yeah, there wasn't an assassin. You know, there wasn't just some
Yeah.
random person walking up. But Marvin Gaye, I think, was 82, so that was later. But same thing, it was his father, you know.
It
And
was his father. Yeah.
so, but yeah, I think that from what I understand,
It
I think it
probably
was Paul
was,
McCartney
yeah.
that said that threw a panic into everybody. You know, it's like,
Oh,
well, you
absolutely.
can't go out anymore and meet, you know, hell with that. You know,
I'm sure. Yeah.
The sick
Yeah.
jokes that were going around.
Oh, it was awful.
Yeah, I don't
It
I don't
was.
know those.
And I think recently because Mark David Chapman had the copy of I think Double Fantasy signed
Yeah,
that afternoon, and I think it sold for like $500,000 or something
Wow.
just recently.
and
the fuck
Yoko
wants-
Ono
who-
putting his
the
glasses on
fuck
an
wants
album
that?
cover with the blood all over him. It's like crazy.
I went to years ago. Oh God, probably about 15 years ago. Yoko did a art exhibit in New York, and we were in New York at the time. And we went to see this exhibit, and it was great. It was all like his artwork and his photography. It didn't have a lot to do with music, which was really cool. You know, you could see his artwork and his photography, a lot of like lyrics and his writings and stuff. And then the very last exhibit was the bag that was returned to her with his bloody clothes in it. And she had it was just a shopping bag, from the local store, and she had all his bloody clothes on display, and it was powerful. It really was. It sounds morbid. It sounds awful, but it just encompassed the entire thing. Everyone walked out of there just going, "Wow, absolute wow."
Well, it's like for me, like those glasses on the album cover. They're black and white, so you don't really notice. They just look like his glasses,
blood.
and then you realize
Yeah.
there's blood all over them.
Yeah.
You know, so it's
I've
crazy.
most of my life, early life, I thought Yoko was, the crazy bitch. I didn't want anything to do with her. She broke up the Beatles and this and that. And over the last 25 years, she's really cool. I think she is really, really cool. She believes everything she thinks and talks about, and I really have a lot more respect for her. The music, I get it. It's weird. Some of it's good. Some of it's, but no, I've gained a whole new respect for her, and I know she's not doing well. I think she's bedridden and she's in bad shape, but yeah, she's been in bad shape for years. But I've gained a whole new respect for Yoko Ono. I think she's terrific, absolutely terrific. I saw her once.
She was
live.
painted really poorly, by
Very, very poorly.
you know,
Very.
and I think a
poorly.
lot of people have that where they have to come to a realization themselves of her talent and what kind of person she really is, and
Yeah.
and forget all this 1972
Bullshit.
opinions
Yeah.
that were being force
Yeah.
fed to people, sort of. So
No, she's an artist that was very misunderstood because of her public persona. If
Yeah.
you look at her art, if you just look at her art and what she's done, it's beautiful, beautiful stuff. I saw her once live. It was odd, but she had Thurston Moore in her band from Sonic Youth, who is like he's on guitar, and he's a very tall man. I think
Yes,
he's like
he is.
6'7", 6'8". He's very tall, and she's like hanging next to him, and the admiration for the two they had for each other was palpable on stage. It was so cool, and she was just this tiny little thing, and he's double her size, and it was a really interesting night. And then thunderstorms rolled in, and it just got really dark, and it was really, really cool.
you talked about that in a video, and
Did I?
And I saw it. I saw it on YouTube. You said it was on YouTube or something like that,
I'm
so I
on
went
YouTube.
and watched it on YouTube. Yeah, so it's there for anybody that wants to. I don't know if it's that specific concert, but she and Thurston Moore are there.
I don't remember what video I put it in, but yeah, I've mentioned it a lot because it is one of my favorite concert experiences.
I don't know if
an artist
that
that I
specific concert, but it's on YouTube.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, the whole. I don't know if it's the entire performance, but pieces of it. And she does come out and say that she loves Sonic Youth and they're the best. I don't know what she called them. Art rock, I think. The best representation of art rock that there is and all that. For me, it was the one that was shocking to me. Sort of like John Lennon, David Bowie's getting older, he's still too young to pass away, but John Lennon was just like out of the, what was he, 40? The one for me was Kurt Cobain. And I remember where I was, I was driving on the way to college, getting ready with, the left blinker on, ready to pull into the campus off of the highway. And that was when it was on the radio that he had passed away. He had done something before that, like I think he disappeared or something, like a couple weeks before that or something. So you knew something was up. But yeah, Kurt Cobain was. I mean, I'm in college radio. It's 1994, and we're all about Nirvana, and suddenly we don't have Kurt Cobain anymore. And I remember the whole class was like, what the hell? And the teacher, one of the instructors, obviously, not into, this is upside down, not into Nirvana, but was comparing it to John Lennon. And how this is a voice of a generation. This is, this is more than just some rock star dying. This is people change their life for, change their attitude for. He was very pro-feminine, very pro-gay, very, not this stuff that we had just come out of in the 80s. And all the price tag's taken off. This is an original that I bought just on a whim, just because I wanted to buy a record. And so I bought this in 1994, whenever it was out, and it still has the price tag of $9.99 on it.
Nice.
I wonder how much this is worth now. So
I just read an old interview with Kurt Cobain where he was talking about how he was fortunate to be living with his girlfriend, and I don't know if it was, again, the name escapes me.
Courtney Love?
I don't know if it was Courtney Love, if it was somebody before her, because this was before Nirvana. But he felt really fortunate that he was living with somebody so he didn't have to work. And so all he did was, work on music and concepts. But he was so, like you were saying, Robert, he was so fed up with the sexism in rock and roll. And that it was just, guys walking around trying to get their dicks wet. That was his whole attitude toward rock and roll. And then punk rock came along and really kind of blew that out of the water for him. And, so that's where he kind of started getting that idea.
He passed away. It came right back too. I mean, watch the Woodstock 99 documentary. I mean, I've never seen, aside from it being about Woodstock 99, they really, really grasp how it's not 90s rock. There's two different kinds of 90s rock. There's pre-Kurt Cobain, and then there's death, and there's post-Kurt Cobain death. And I was in radio for all of it. And I could just see that whole, thing just go away and get replaced by Limp Bizkit and shit like, we're right back where we were, and Woodstock 99 was like the paramount of that.
That documentary is something else. Unbelievable.
We're right back to show us your tits,
How could those organizers know that was not going to happen? Just by
the fact that they did Woodstock 99, the event location. That doesn't exactly scream Woodstock,
Right.
But that Kurt Cobain for me, and then later on, I'm more when a celebrity when a musician or a singer dies, I'm more about going into radio mode, and I've got to now come up with tributes, and I've got to start pulling music and what's going to work. What are people going to tune out? This is not familiar enough. Well, we can play it once. We need to play this 3 times. So I'm all programming later on when somebody passes away. So I'm not really as connected as I was with Kurt Cobain. But there is one person that stands out in all of that. And I swear we'll get to you eventually, Craig. I just have this
You're good.
last
You're good.
story.
I'm enjoying this.
And that is George Michael. And I
yeah.
just want to brag. This is a failed attempt so I can brag. He passed away, if you remember, on Christmas.
Christmas Eve or Christmas?
Christmas
Day.
Day. Well, Christmas evening.
Christmas Day.
Christmas late afternoon, early evening of Christmas Day is when it was announced. So I'm at home, and I drive to the radio station. It's 40 minutes away, and there's no one there. I mean, it's Christmas. I don't know if you all know how radio works, but a lot of time, well, now there's never anybody there except for a morning show. But at Christmas, there's not anybody there. It's voice tracks, and it's a computer's playing the music like it always does, and then there's little voice tracks that come on. It sounds like somebody's there. But obviously, these voice tracks are not saying anything about George Michael because they were recorded 3 days ago. So I go in and take out the voice tracks and give a tribute to explain that George Michael has passed away. Start playing all the George Michael, the Aretha Franklin with George Michael and all this kind of stuff. Any George Michael we have that's familiar or whatever, and talking about different things about him and whatever, and just do a little impromptu thing. It lasted maybe 2 hours or whatever, and then I inserted Wham and George Michael later on just to play, and found out later on that I on our station was the only station in our entire company of about 400 radio stations that did that.
Wow.
Everybody else, standard operational procedure, doesn't matter. And that's why that's a perfect example of why radio is where it is now.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
I'm not
Last
fuck it.
Christmas, I gave you my
Interesting.
Oh,
heart.
sure, it had played Last
The
Christmas.
very
And,
next day, you gave
Or
it
on
away.
Christmas.
but yeah, I'm pretty proud of that. That I'm ashamed of radio, but I'm pretty proud that I was the only one out of the entire. I mean, we're talking nationwide that went in, our company that went in and actually gave a shit and said, George Michael has passed away. So here's some details. I'll give you more details as we get them. Let's just enjoy, and was playing all the George Michael stuff. And,
Good for you.
Really gives you an insight as to how connected radio is these last few years.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit?
Craig, yours isn't going to be Michael Jackson, is it?
Nope, he's not even on my list.
Oh, okay. Because
Craig has a list.
to sorry
remember
to
that.
delay you even more, but to piggyback
I remember
on
that day
something
because
from
Farrah
Robert.
Fawcett died the same day.
Yeah, and then we forgot all about Farrah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
No,
The,
but it's like Farrah Fawcett died, I think, first, and
Yeah.
then later it was announced
Yeah,
that Michael
yeah,
died,
he died in
and
the
it was
morning.
like, no more are we hearing about Farrah.
Yeah.
Like,
Same thing happened to Groucho Marx when Elvis Presley died.
oh, on the same day?
Yes, I remember.
Maybe the
that.
day before or the same day, but yeah, right, really close. And it was like Groucho
That's
who?
right.
Elvis just died.
But when the news came across about Michael Jackson, I was working late and in this small company, and we had 14 TV stations, and I was like the master controller of all their websites. And so when the news came over the wire that he was dead, I usurped all our TV stations' web pages to put the news on there to break that news right away, which everybody appreciated except one station because they had severe weather going through the market, and that was more important to their audience than Michael Jackson dying. So, but yeah.
Now when
I was
when
in my
Elvis
car
died-
on the way to a gay resort in Michigan when I found out that Michael Jackson died.
Oh, would
was
that have been the
devastation.
Douglas Dunes?
the Dunes.
Yes.
That'll be for our next video.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be live. We're going live next week, right?
Live next week. Yeah.
I don't think we have a time. We never.
I gotta get a 12-pack.
Are we doing this at 5:30 on Saturday?
Yeah, why not?
5:30. Yeah, that works.
Okay.
Yeah.
5:30
There it
Saturday. We
is.
are live next week, by the way.
All night long.
Watch out
Well, I don't know
for
about that.
Not gonna be,
Yeah,
it's
I
not
got my
gonna be all
drink.
night long. What did our last one? Our last live one went what? 6 hours?
6.5
6
hours.
That could have been
Hours.
all night long. I mean, because
Yeah.
then it became morning.
That is stupid.
Yeah,
Why did
right.
we do that?
It depends on where you are,
We were
too. It
having-
could be all
We
morning.
were having a gay old time, so
Yeah, drunk old time.
a gay drunk time. Yeah,
Oh my god.
I talked about phone books.
out of a couple actually. I didn't remember. I mean, I got to shout out Whitney Houston. I don't have anything here because she just
No, Whitney. Yeah.
but Whitney, that was a little. I got a flash, like a little show. So, Aaliyah, rest in peace, Aaliyah. That one bothered me. Y'all know who Aaliyah is, right?
She's had that one song, "Say My Name" or something.
It's several songs.
Oh.
No, that's
she was in a vampire movie.
Yeah, she was, and it wasn't good, but. But she was an up and comer. She only had 3 albums out, R&B, but she was only 22 when she died.
Sort of like Selena.
Oh, Selena's another one I should. But I'm just
Lisa Left Eye. Who was that?
Doris Day.
Just
you were affected when she died.
Oh my God! I just did that antique mall video.
He was affected.
I went into an antique mall, and I had a record shirt on, or a 45 adapter, some kind of shirt on that symbolized records. And immediately the woman goes, "Oh, we have records in the back, right around the corner there. If you're looking for records, we have a Doris Day one. She just died."
Just recently, they said.
No, it was after she died, but it's like better get that one.
I'm like, she died in 19, but see, Lisa Left Eye Lopez, yeah.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Naomi Judd. Look at that sexiness there. Mm-hmm. Etta James, that one bothered me. I'm getting to the ones that really affected me. Simone.
Yeah, Nina.
Doris Day, in 2019.
Yep, Doris Day died, like in May. Kenny Rogers, I actually got lucky and got to see him right before. He died in 20, and I saw him in 17.
Me too. I met him and saw him, and saw him in an amphitheater, and I think I was one of 90 people there in an amphitheater that holds me and Terry had the row at what used to be called Riverport Amphitheater. It was whatever it is now, the UMB Bank Pavilion. We had the whole row to ourselves.
Wow. Well, I saw him in Nashville it was the Farewell to the Gambler, and it was like the farewell concert for him. So, I mean, the Judds performed, Oak Ridge Boys. That dude from the Eagles.
You saw that? That was the televised thing, right?
Yeah, that they edited 90% out of it.
Oh,
but yeah,
of course.
I was there. But of course, it ended with Kenny and Dolly, and it was wonderful. But yeah, I was there. The little bit they showed of the audience, they didn't show a lot. You couldn't see us, but yeah, we were there. So the ones that affected me, I actually remember very vividly, and so the first one, when Michael Hutchence from NXS.
Yeah.
I was driving to work, and it was announced on the radio. It was in 97, November, I believe.
His death ended up exposing how a lot of deaths attributed to suicide were completely fake, because people didn't want to know what really happened.
Yeah.
He was the first one where it, became more exposed about what happened when he died. And that there was a lot of post-death coverage about
the rumors were rampant. Yeah. It was awful what they were saying. And who was he married to at the time? He was married to Bob
Mrs.
Geldof.
Hutchins.
Bob Geldof's ex-wife. I don't know. Maybe they weren't even married. Didn't he? Wasn't there? There was like a big scandal with him and Bob Geldof's.
Yeah, because he has a daughter with her.
And she was and what's her name? She's actually very big in the UK. I think she was a TV host or something. But yeah, I mean, he basically stole Bob Geldof's wife, and then there were all kinds of rumors about that. It was a horrible, horrible situation. His death. That's most deaths are.
Paula Yates.
What?
Paula Yates.
Yeah, Paula Gates. Yeah.
Paula Yates. Yeah, and then he's got one kid with her. So I'm sorry, Craig. No, you're fine.
I think Bob Geldof has actually taken in their child, and she lives with them now.
I'm pretty sure that is correct.
I think I saw something where he's just he's forgiven everything, and he just because the girl was, I think they have a daughter, She was very, very young when he died, and
don't
I
even
think
a year or two.
because I think Paula Gates has passed away now.
Yates.
Yates, yeah. I could be totally wrong.
Let me click on her. She
That's a very good chance.
She died in 2000.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, and I'm pretty sure Bob Geldof actually stepped up and adopted her or took her in and everything.
On that, yeah.
2000. I mean, that's 22 years ago, and it's like we say it like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
That was a big one, Craig.
It's the first celebrity in my entire life that I heard that. I actually had to pull my car over. I know this sounds pathetic, but I started crying, and I've never done that with a celebrity before. But Michael Hutchins was just like, I don't know. That was like, it's
sexy as fuck.
Sexy, and it was my first I think admitting to myself that, hey, that's a guy, and I think he's really sexy and and I mean, I didn't come out for years after that, but to myself I admitted that he was kind of my crush and everything. I mean, I saw them live, and I'm still angry at the bitch that knocked my hand out of the way when he was going to touch me. I don't know. It's just so I cried. But the one that affected me, and Robert just already mentioned him, but I think y'all knew I was going to say this anyways, because I have to talk. This devastated me when George died. It was on Christmas Day. I was freaking working. I was a mess. So those are really the only two celebrities that it affected me, deeply. I still George, we needed so much more music from him, and Michael as well. George and Michael.
Prince,
but yeah,
Prince
you planned that
too.
And Prince actually, that was another one that I wanted to Prince is the
Prince
third
was
one.
An interesting one because if you remember, a week and a half, 2 weeks before he passed away, remember he was in an airplane.
Yeah.
And he was flying back to Minnesota. And here in Chicago, we kind of got a lot of news coverage on this because there was an emergency landing at an airport right outside of Rockford. And a private plane did an emergency landing. And the news here in Chicago was all over it. What's going on? Who is this? What is it? And it turned out it was Prince. And there was an emergency landing, and ambulances had to go over to the plane and do something. And then it cleared, and the plane left. And it turned out it was Prince. And we got this coverage a lot because it was west of Chicago, on the Iowa border, in that area. But news here in Chicago was all over it. And everyone was like, what the hell was that?
Right.
And he went back, and then the national media kind of got it. So everyone knew something had happened. And it kind of trickled, well, he's okay, this and that. And then he died a week and a half later, 2 weeks.
It was similar to the Kurt Cobain
remember
thing.
that one.
There was a prelude to something's up, and then he's murdered, or I'm sorry, he committed suicide, leaving no fingerprints on the gun. That's what
murdered
happened.
By himself. Another one that kind of affected me. Also, I don't know if you guys know Elliott Smith. Have you heard of?
Yeah.
He's a wonderful singer-songwriter out of San Francisco. Terrific, but I mean, he killed himself. He stabbed himself in the heart. If you're going to kill yourself,
determination.
Damn, that is.
If you're going to kill yourself, do you by stabbing yourself in the heart? And there were no fingerprints on the knife.
Oh well.
Well, he cleaned them up.
That's a weird one.
That's like Kurt Cobain. There's no fingerprints on the gun and the whole chair in front of the door, and it wasn't in front of the door. It was moved in front. The Kurt Cobain thing is highly suspicious because from all everybody says he was not suicidal at that juncture. He was actually happy.
Didn't he leave a note though?
He left a note that it read more like he was quitting Nirvana. He was getting away from being a star in this handwriting, and then suddenly the handwriting changes and it turns into a suicide note.
Oh.
But nothing suspicious here. The issue is that it was investigated originally by a small police force in wherever in the world he was, whatever part of Washington State he was.
Was it Appleton? Was
Seattle.
it Appleton, his hometown?
I don't think so. He was in like a shed or something, or, you know, in an old beat up house. You know, I don't know where it was, but it was some smaller place. And that's who investigated it. And they moved stuff around. One of them moved a chair. The photos reveal this. Somebody moved a chair and put it in front of the door. And that was one of the reasons they said it had to be suicide, because there's a chair in front of the door. And, you know, how can somebody kill him and leave and then scoot a chair in front of the door? And it's like, well, pictures show that chair was originally not in front of the door. It's just all kinds of stuff pointing to it not being a suicide. But either way, it really freaked us all out in college. That was wild. And then, of course, all the Seattle people, it's like one after the other. You know, whether it be Lane Staley, Chris Cornell, the guy from Screaming Trees. It's just like...
Yeah.
Well, and there was, what was her name?
Good thing Eddie Vedder's from Chicago.
Right.
He escaped, I guess.
Yeah, he's from Chicago, actually.
Yeah.
Well, like the police are competent here.
No, I'm saying all these Seattle people, you know, dying like that.
Yeah, so he's
grunge bands.
So he's not going to die.
But yeah, that's...
Okay,
moving on to
can we
happier
talk about
things.
something cheerful?
Yes, let's talk about our album review. We listened to Peter Gabriel's Security album, which if you have the CD... It has one of those things on there, full digital recording, you know, like it's...
Ooh.
All the audiophiles used to love that. And I did find out it is just called Peter Gabriel everywhere else in the world. And the reason in the U.S. that it's called Security is because he wanted to call it Peter Gabriel. And the record label was like, we feel very insecure about just calling it. And so he named it Security.
Speaking of insecure... He's on
right.
Geffen,
That would have been 4.
There's one of the most insecure
records.
people in music.
Yeah.
David Geffen right there.
Well, he's probably the one that said it.
Mm-hmm.
We feel very insecure about just calling this Peter Gabriel when you have 3 other albums called
So
that.
have you... I wonder... I've never seen Well, no, my friend... In high school, one of my good friends had a German press of it. I wonder if it says Security.
No, it's only called Security in the U.S. Everywhere else it's just Peter Gabriel.
Yeah, because, I mean, it's just...
Yeah, it's on the label. So.
On the label.
Yeah.
Wait, mine doesn't say Security anywhere on it.
On the label?
Let me look at the label, but it's on the turntable. Give me a second.
Maybe you have
mine just
non-American.
Hold on. Well, it says U.S.
But it even says Peter Gabriel.
Oh, that's a different album.
Security.
That's us. That's the one with Steam.
Okay.
And that's why he named all his other albums 2-letter names, because that's the lowest amount you can have without being an article or a personal pronoun. So that's why so and us and up and...
Oh.
Really?
It's got a real thing about album names being shorter.
Interesting.
Non-existent.
It does say it on the label. I just didn't notice it, but on the spine it doesn't.
So who's first? I went first last time. I'm not doing that again.
Yes, you are.
I'm still so upset with myself. No more Mr. Nice Guy. I'm not inflating rainbows anymore.
Robert.
I could go first, but I have a lot to
rainbows.
say.
I did. I gave it an extra rainbow because I thought you guys wouldn't like it very much. And so I broke my own code of no bullshit, and I bullshitted a rainbow, and it ends up being the top album. I'm not doing that again. I learned my lesson. Instant karma.
So your review
for doing that.
Right. I'm totally pissed at myself. I broke my own code.
Like that's your fault?
Yeah, it's totally my fault.
Jeez.
I should not have given an extra rainbow thanking you guys. Because remember I was saying I would come off as ranty in the last 3 or 4 videos I did because of just a coincidence. And I didn't want to fall into like a shtick. Like, this is the guy that hates everything. So I was like, all right, well, it's a 2-rainbow album, obviously. But I'm going to throw an extra rainbow. I don't think the other guys are going to like it. So everybody... So I'm going to...
Don't worry about us. No, do
don't worry about...
No, there will be no more of that. Lesson learned.
More
never break your own
We
code.
all have grown up with very, very thick skins because we've had to.
Oh, I'm not talking about thick skins. I'm just talking about I didn't want to come off as the guy that's always hating everything. Because I just did the video about the Steely Dan and the great albums everybody else loves, I don't like. Then the Steely Dan audiophile stuff. And then the...
So are you telegraphing you're going to pan this album?
No, not really. I'm just going to be completely honest from now on. As I was before. I took a break from that for one album. It's never happening again.
Just let me have it. God damn it.
Was it your album?
The what? Yes,
This
the
isn't
last.
your album. It's
I know.
Mike's.
I'm just saying the last one. Let me have it. Stop.
Oh, it wasn't about you. It was about me. It's
Excuse
always about me.
Well, I know this, but all right. I don't really have a lot to say, but that's not a bad thing. So I'll just go first. Where am I going with this? So I was so like back in the day. I mean, so really is like what I knew of Peter Gabriel up until probably like the last 20 years or whatever. I knew so and before. So then I kind of went back and I think it's a fantastic album. I Have the Touch. That song is fantastic. I love the drums and the just it's very theatrical in a sense.
Yeah.
It's just, but it's just, I probably listened to it like 4 or 5 times this week, and I just don't have anything like really incredible to say about it other than I just enjoy it. It's a good album, and I want to go back and get some more of his older stuff, and then hear so you guys can give me some shit. I have never heard one Genesis song with Peter Gabriel. I've only heard Phil Collins' Genesis, so I've been wanting to go, and I'll ask you guys about that later. I kind of want to know what album you think I should listen to first of like Peter Gabriel Genesis, but we're not talking about that. We'll talk about that later.
Foxtrot.
Nursery Crime.
Nursery Crime.
I just said that because he said, I was hoping you'd say Trick of the Tail and we'd all have three different.
I like Trick of the Tail's good. It's probably
yeah, see, there you go. We got three different albums.
Okay. Okay, well, that'll give me a good start.
I think Craig should do a Guncle review of Nursery Crime. I think that would be great.
Maybe that's the one I was thinking instead of Foxtrot. Is that the one with Supper's Ready?
Nursery?
Yeah, I've heard them all like once.
It's the one. It's the one where they're playing croquet with the skulls on the.
Right.
cover.
Yeah, I know the cover, but
Yeah.
is that the one with Supper's Ready?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. All right. I'll.
Anyway, the reason. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
I'll do Nursery Crime first.
This will be interesting.
So yeah, nothing inspirational. I really enjoy it, and the second side to me is better.
I agree.
Of course, I mean, have that, which Heather Nova, is that her name? She covered "I Have the Touch" for the Craft soundtrack. It was years before I even knew that it was a Peter Gabriel song. Yeah, but yeah, I wish I had more to say. And then the closer, though, "Kiss of Life," like that is just
great.
That is just, I listened to that several times. Oh, but you mentioned something about German or whatever. When I was looking on iTunes, because I wanted to listen to it in the car, he did this whole album in German.
I think he's recorded all of his albums in German.
Oh, has he? Okay, because I didn't know.
I think so, yeah.
But I actually listened to a couple of those. That was kind of fun. I, of course, don't speak German. But yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, it's called Eine Deutsches album, and Shock the Monkey sounds very strange.
Yeah,
very different.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like it's really a rhythmic kind of.
Yeah, and then I Have the Touch. He just a Contact, and it's called Contact, AONTAC or something like that. Because I listened to that. I am going to give Mr. Gabriel 3.5 rainbows. And I dig it.
Good. Next.
I remember liking it a lot more than I did when I heard it. The rhythm and the heat, it's got the same exact production as Kate Bush's The Dreaming album, which is from the same year. It's a lot of the same sound on that song, so that was pretty cool.
I think he discovered Kate Bush, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. And then she turns up on the So album. But yeah, it just got kind of meandering. I agree with Craig that side 2 is better. It just takes so long to get there. And that what's the one? The family and the tennis racket or whatever. What's it called? Fishing net.
Fishing net.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that one. That's way meandering
Oh my God.
The it sounds very cold. I wish there was a little more music in it instead of just all the synth. And it's not even synths like Howard Jones synths. It's just really choppy synths and drum machines. I love "Lay Your Hands on Me" when it's live on the POV videotape. Came out with a concert video we used to play at Blockbuster all the time called POV. And as far as I know, there's no like audio release of that. It's from Greece in 1988. And the whole concert is great. But what he does with these Security songs, he kind of brings them to life. There's more instrumentation, there's more going on. And so listening to the actual album, these kind of sound almost unfinished or like there's some elements missing because I'm so used to hearing this full, especially lay your hands on me. Is it lay your hands on? Lay your hands on? Yeah, lay your hands on. Yeah. I'm thinking of the Thompson Twins or something. But
they do have a song called
They do have a song called "Lay Your Hands on Me."
They do.
But yeah, I thought it was a little bit meandering in places, especially side one, and many of those songs don't really catch. Like I've heard this album I don't know how many times, and I still can't tell you what a couple of those songs on side one sound like. But this is all about Shock the Monkey. I mean, Shock the Monkey's one of my favorite songs. That's where the melody starts to come in, is side two. You start hearing things that are, you can kind of grasp a hold of. But yeah, I just think that a lot of those side one songs don't sound like they're fully realized. I would suggest if somebody's doesn't have a Peter Gabriel album, that they don't probably start with this one. Probably start with either the Melt.
I agree there.
Or,
I totally agree with that.
Or even So. I like a lot of the album tracks on So. That Sledgehammer is what it is. Big Time can. That's ridiculous. But, I mean, horrible. Mercy Street, I think, is wonderful. I mean, he really starts to use these instruments as more of a musical thing instead of a percussion type thing. Which a lot of this sounds like a lot of percussion. That's why I'm saying they don't sound. Some of them don't sound fully realized. But I will. His voice. I mean, it still has Peter Gabriel's voice on it, which I think is the best instrument on any of his albums. Mm-hmm. Certainly not cymbals, which he refuses to put on some of them for whatever weird reason. But I will give this, like Craig, I'll give it 3.5 rainbows.
Okay. I made a very, a spontaneous connection with this album while listening to it for our show. I mean, I'm familiar with this album. I've had it, for quite a while, but then I haven't listened to it in quite a while. And listening to it, I began to realize some things about it. So to me, it's not a concept album, but I heard a theme all the way through it. You've got the opening track and the closing track. They're hopeful in many respects. And then the songs in between seem to have this commonality of what happens when we lose touch with ourselves, with others, with humanity, how our humanness, our humanity can become distorted. And one of the songs, I'll get to that. The Rhythm of the Heat, just amazing song to me. It just really builds, and it basically boils down to sex. That the whole point of life, there isn't any reason for us to be acquiring a lot of things. The joy of life is being with each other, being with each other as other human beings. And I guess it was inspired because of the experience Carl Jung had, hearing some African tribal drummers, and that's, you get that drumming beat and just this the sensualness of the drumming in that. San Jacinto was the one that I'm like, wow, there's something happening with this song. And so I'm always looking up stuff and reading about it, and it talked to Peter Gabriel said that part of the inspiration from the song was when he was mountain hiking and climbing near Palm Springs in the San Jacinto Mountains. And I went, holy shit, I've been there. I've been in those mountains. So I looked up some photos, and I looked up photos of the mountain San Jacinto, and I'm going, wow. I mean, I wasn't on the mountain, but I was hiking in some canyons to the I guess it would be to the east. And then the other part of it was
it's near Joshua Tree, kind of, isn't it?
oh, Joshua Tree is like a few hours, away. But it's right there. There's a tram that goes up right from Palm Springs.
I've done that tram.
Yeah, that's San Jacinto.
It's 120 degrees at the bottom of the mountain, and it's like 40 when you get to the top.
Yeah. And the other part of it was when he was in the Midwest someplace, and they were playing a show, and they were in this motel, not a hotel. It was a motel. There was a Native American man there working that Peter was talking to, and he mentioned that his house was on fire, and he was worried about whether his cat was going to survive. So Peter drove him out to his house, to save the cat, and that struck him also how this guy was only concerned about his cat. He didn't care that all his possessions were destroyed in the fire and all that. So did you go up at night or during the day?
We went during the day.
Okay. The views at night, you can see how the city is spreading through that valley. And that's what this song is about, is this Native American elder is pleading to the mountain, San Jacinto, to help us restore ourselves in our tribal ways because of the encroachment of civilization. So there's this like pleading. My notes, I write down, white people are the Borg. I mean, it's just, spreading and assimilating, everything. I have the touch. I like the song, but it's kind of creepy. And it's, to me, it's about someone who craves touch from others. So he like devolves into inappropriate actions, to maybe achieve that touch. It could be a social isolate. It could be a politician. I've got the touch, the handshake, or a businessman. So that touch becomes commoditized, very superficial. It's no longer intimate. So like he's feeling the touch, but as he's singing in the song, he feels empty. It's not enough. It's not satisfying. The Family and the Fishing Net was my least favorite song, mostly because of the recording style. I did not like the production of the song. It just sounded tinny. So I really, but I liked the message of the song in terms of how something as simple as a wedding ritual can become ritualistic. And that we do, most of us don't even understand the reason for these rituals anymore. They just become rote. Then, of course, you got Shock the Monkey, which I remember when it came out. I mean, everybody was saying, oh, yeah, man, this is, it's about, shocking monkeys, or it's about masturbation, and all these other, things. And, it's a song about jealousy, and it's a very catchy tune, and really, really, it was all over the radio. I remember when, it came out. Lay Your Hands on Me about, was talking to me about faith healing and how we can be so caught up in the mundaneness of life that we want someone to touch us and heal us, bring us back to our fullness as a human, as a person. Wallflower, this political prisoner, really kind of depressing, and he's pleading to them, hold on. At first, I kind of lean more toward it's someone who is in an asylum as opposed to being a political prisoner. But someone who's in an asylum, but there's really nothing mentally ill with them. They can see what's going on, and so they're a danger, and so they have to be, locked up so that their awareness of how fucked up the world is, doesn't spread to other people. And then The Kiss of Life, just a big, joyous song of some big-ass woman dancing like crazy and creating desire, and then there's the guy who's like dying or dead, lying on the beach, and she just brings him life back to him, and it's just a very, very sensual song and joyful. So that's where the beginning and the last song kind of create this enclosure, but inside there's all this turmoil, all this where we've lost touch in the humanity. I would have given it 5 rainbows, but I'm not, mostly because of the family and the fishing net. But I am giving it 4.5 rainbows.
Wow. I just learned more about my record that I picked from Richard's review than I knew. No, that's all. No, that's awesome. Okay, so this record, it's probably the reason I picked it. When did this come out? 81?
82.
82? This was probably the 3rd or 4th concert I ever went to. This album was recorded on that tour. Terrific live album. One of my favorite live albums of all time. This concert memory is like 2 or 3 in my concert memories of all time. He was still obviously doing the makeup still. He still had a persona that he was always trying to pick with each tour. He was just doing really creative, interesting stuff that would end after the next album. But I agree with Robert. The live stuff much better than the studio stuff, because he does the whole album on plays live, and it blows away.
Yeah, I would love to hear it live because of that production issue. Some of the production.
I absolutely agree with that.
It's tinny.
Very true. Yeah, I love this record. I think Rhythm of the Heat just sets the tone for the entire record, and it is a concept record. It's Rhythm of the Heat is also the song he opened with in the concert, and it set the tone for the entire night. The stage he had set up was like a jungle gym. It was just bars, and he swung from the bars during the show. And it worked. It worked for like his earlier solo stuff, Games Without Frontiers, and whether it was Shock the Monkey or it just worked. It was such a great visual experience. I've really never seen a concert like that since. San Jacinto. It's not my favorite song on the record, but really enjoyable. I have the touch. I love it. I absolutely love it. Family in the Fishing Net. You guys, it's my favorite song on the record.
Wow.
But maybe because of the live version too, because I remember it so vividly when he was performing it. It was just so powerful, and ever since I saw that, it always just resonates with me. I don't know what it is. Shock the Monkey, the video, all over MTV. Great video, great single. Lay Your Hands on Me. What a wonderful. It's a ritualist. I think you said ritualistic. It feels like a ritual. Listening to that song, it's so powerful. I absolutely love it. Wildflower also probably not one of my favorite songs, but after Richard's review, I'm gonna definitely re-listen to it. And Kiss of Life is spectacular. I absolutely love it. I love the artwork. I had this poster again in my room. I think the stars of this album, I mean, obviously Peter Gabriel's vocals, really, really strong. But Jerry Marotta on drums and Tony Levin on bass are the absolute stars of this album. The rhythm section on here is spectacular. They were also live when I saw them. And unbelievable musicians. I absolutely love this. You guys, I'm giving it 5 rainbows.
It reminded me
I know
a
you're
lot
shocked.
of Foxtrot. I felt like he was sort of revisiting some of the things that he was, going into with Foxtrot, because not just because of Supper's Ready, but the song "Get 'Em Out by Friday" and songs like that.
I think this is his solo masterpiece. I mean, say what you will about So is ruined by two songs, "Big Time" and "Sledgehammer." Those songs are awful.
Oh, and I love Big Time.
But
I just love Big Time.
I don't mind Sledgehammer. I can't do Big Time.
It's wonderful. Don't Give Up is great.
Yeah.
Mercy Street.
Mercy Street's my favorite song.
Yeah.
If Mercy Street was on the, if you took one song off, if you took Family Out in the Fishing Net off of this and put Mercy Street, this would be a 5-star record.
Yeah.
For you guys.
And Red Rain too. I like that.
Yeah, Red Rain is a great song. But I don't know. And, people say he sold out after this, but he still does good stuff. I adore Peter Gabriel. When I was in high school, my best friend in high school, his mother was German, and she would go back to Germany once a year, and she would always come back with like German pressings of records. And the one summer she came back and she had like the first 4 Peter Gabriel, this and the other 3, all in German pressings, and they were gorgeous. And I as a kid, I was like, oh, German pressings, like they were like something special. And they were beautiful. He still has them. We actually talked to him a couple of weeks ago, and he's like, yeah, I still have them. I never listened to them. He doesn't even own a record player, but he has them.
I have the Melting Face German. It sounds terrific. And I don't know how good the American one sounds, but
and he did different, like he had a standard, but they were in different color. Is what I remember. I think some of them were in green, some of them were in blue.
I think my favorite song of his in his solo career is that one about my goats. I can't remember, but I don't think that's on an album. I think that was only a single.
No, I don't know.
It's about a goat herder, in North Africa. And I can't. That's my favorite song of his solo career.
All his solo stuff is great. I mean, this is a terrific record. His first solo record after he left Genesis. It's got some really good stuff on it. And of course, this one On the Air and DIY. This is a really good record. Yeah, and then the other one with Games Without Frontiers and Biko.
It took me a while to really catch on to the brilliance of those first 3 albums.
Yeah. They're tough to get into.
I was enamored by the hits, the radio hits.
Yeah.
But it took me a while to fully realize, what he was doing there.
Yeah, the Biko on that. Biko's great anyway, but on that concert movie I was talking about, the VHS, is the whole audience starts joining in, and he's got these. I think they're actually African backup singers, and the whole. I mean, it's just really overpowering. The whole Biko song, but the whole world is watching now.
I think he's a terrific artist. I hope he does do more music. I heard he's actually recording, so that'd be great. Love Peter Gabriel.
Speaking of great music that is loved by one of the Guncles, recently Craig at Craig's Vinyl Plethora, which if you're not subscribed to that channel, why not?
Yeah, you should
is
be.
The question.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Recently ranked all the Madonna albums.
What's
16 and a half. 16 and a half.
Oh. Wait, that's right. We gotta find out what Richard's gonna have us listen to.
Yeah, and what's Richard?
Oh yeah, let's next go.
And then we'll discuss Madonna.
And we certainly invite, whenever we do these, we certainly invite everyone to listen to the album that's coming up and give in the comments what their opinion is too. So we'll find out what that is now.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, for the next one for all of us, this is a double album. So sorry about
Frampton
that.
Comes Alive.
But I'm going to be jumping back up with this one here, and this is a Japanese pop artist and named Cornelius, and the album is Phantasma, and you can find all the songs on YouTube. I don't do the streaming services, but I'm sure that all the songs are on there. And the only thing I'm going to say about it before you listen to it is you might initially, when listening to it, think this thing's all over the place. But everything works together despite the constant shifting of musical styles. There's a lot of what I call grout that sort of fills in the transitions that helps things go along. So Phantasma, this was released in...
You posted this on Instagram, and I actually looked for it because I thought the artwork is really cool.
Yeah,
so I looked for it.
About this
I couldn't
cover
find
you
it,
can
but I
see
might
is
have
orange. So, but anyway, yes, Cornelius, who also goes is Kaigo Oyamada as his Japanese name.
All right, so we invite everyone to listen to Phantasma
by
with
Cornelius.
the ball that flies around.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Phantasm.
Oh, yeah. Or Fantasia.
Yeah, that's Night on Bald Mountain with Mickey Mouse.
Or Fanta.
And,
I don't know about that.
have a Fanta.
Can we have a no Andrew Lloyd Webber rule?
How's your Manhattan?
That was
Richard?
my next.
That's quite good.
I was going to do Miss Saigon. So Craig was doing Madonna album rankings and was bold enough, because Craig has his own opinions and doesn't care, about what anybody else thinks, putting Rebel Heart at number 4.
Kind of like you.
And like her debut at number 25.
Well, she only had 15, but yeah.
And he still put it at 25.
Wait, she has 15 albums?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's not even counting the ones like, did you do Evita? And who's that girl?
No, that's not included.
Where she's going to have the songs.
No soundtracks? No.
Yeah.
So she's got even more.
I did include I'm Breathless, which is, I don't
That's
think
all her, though, right?
But it's all her.
Yeah.
The other one, Evita is actually the only thing I don't have on vinyl because it hasn't been released on vinyl. So
I have 6 of her CDs, but one of them's a compilation. So I really only have 5 studio CDs, and my God, I didn't know she had that many releases. Madge was busy.
Yeah.
So what?
I could probably go to the bathroom.
Heart.
I could probably go to the bathroom during this segment because I have no Madonna. I don't own any of her records.
Oh, well, then you have to give your toaster back.
What? I love that toaster.
What is your favorite Madonna song?
Me?
Yes.
Yes. Well, I don't own any Madonna, but when I came out, Ray of Light had just come out, or it came out right after I came out of the closet. And you couldn't walk into a bar and not hear that album. And it's really good. It's great. I mean, there's probably 5 songs on that record that were in the clubs. I'm not a club person, but every gay bar that you went to.
Oh yeah, they were all of
that. There were at least 4 or 5 songs that were off of that record that were playing every time you walked in. It's great. I honestly, if I were going to go buy a Madonna record today, it would be Ray of Light.
It's
the
really
rest
hard
of it, I just don't care about.
It's hard to read.
Yeah.
I can't even read those track titles.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I love
a special edition version.
Track
too,
2
right?
and 5 are one word, if that helps.
I
have no idea.
No.
I think I've
Great
played
record.
this maybe once.
See, I have none of her early albums. All I have is the Immaculate Collection.
Well,
early stuff.
Wouldn't Ray of Light be considered an early album?
98.
Oh my God, no.
That's
All right,
like midway through, probably. It's right in the middle.
God, I'm old.
I really liked her contribution to the Austin Powers thing, that Beautiful Stranger. I thought that worked really well as a 60s throwback, but also sounded modern at the same time. I really like that. I like her earlier stuff. Burning Up, from the debut, and I Know It. It's a album track called I Know It.
Yeah.
But yeah, just about everything on here. She just sounds so young and so ready to take on the world. And I think she told Dick Clark that on American Bandstand. What do you want to do? I want to take over the world. And then she does it.
She did.
Yeah.
She did. That was going to happen. This is kind of lesser. It's not as good as the first one, Like a Virgin. True
so
Blue,
Craig,
I think,
where
is
do you
better.
put Bedtime Stories?
Bedtime Stories is my favorite Madonna album.
Is it? Oh, wow. So, because you see, I was listening to all these this afternoon, and yeah, to me, this is when she matures. This is when, to me, all her other stuff was like, Material Girl, kind of. There was all that kind of stuff. But this one she's coming out and she's like, I'm my own person. I'm my own woman.
Is that Papa Don't Preach?
No, that's not on this. That's from her.
No, that's on
her earlier stuff.
True Blue. That's from like
True Blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not my favorite one though. I don't think this is my favorite one.
It's a digital recording.
Yep.
It's garbage.
But what's the song I was listening to here that was really made me feel kind of uncomfortable because I felt like it was talking about me? Love Tried to Welcome Me.
Yeah.
That song was it gave me pause when I was listening to that because I could hear a lot of myself in that song.
Me too, with the one that says, I'm not your bitch, don't hang your shit on me. I'm really identified with that.
Is that your theme song? That's all about Fifth End.
I really don't want somebody hanging their shit on me. I mean, maybe I'm alone in that, but...
This, I think, is my favorite one.
Yeah, I've got a weird one of that, too.
That's like number 7. Oh, you have a fancy of that, too, yeah.
That's number 7.
Yeah, that's number 7 in my list.
Well, so what's your number 2, Craig?
Go and see for yourself at Craig's Vinyl Plethora.
Number 2 is Erotica.
I still love the one everybody else hates, though.
That's the one. Erotica number 2?
Yeah.
I love
the one with the song Rain.
I think it's about when it came out, to be honest. It's just, it was, yeah.
2 of them.
Ah.
One for the kids and one for not the kids.
What is the video where she's in a box and is that on Erotica? What song is that?
I think so.
It's what?
I think it's Erotica, isn't it? Where she's...
No, it's
like
Human
Nature.
It's
black and white.
She's trying to get out of the box and she keeps speaking.
And there's all the dancers in the boxes. That's Human Nature.
Yeah, Human Nature.
Yeah.
That's the one that says, I'm not your bitch, don't hang your shit on me. Isn't that something about Lenny Kravitz? Isn't that directed towards Lenny Kravitz?
No, really.
Anything you took my love and made a track for Silly Fools, and it's about I don't know.
Lenny Kravitz right over here. Sorry.
Do you think that wardrobe malfunction was on purpose, or was that
I don't care. I don't care. It's the hottest man in rock and roll.
Lenny?
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yes.
I love Lenny. Like, I'm sorry, after Are You Gonna Go My Way, it kind of went downhill for me.
But... the music. I mean, he hasn't made an album in years, but man.
This thing I got for like $6. Apparently it's worth like 100 or something.
Yeah, I know, because I've been looking for it. I actually really like that album. That was his last good one.
You don't like Are You Gonna Go My Way, but you like that one?
No, I said Are You Gonna Go My Way is kind of like, no, that's my favorite.
Okay.
Let Love Rule are my favorites.
But yeah, Let Love Rule's great. There's a lot of great songs on both of those beyond just the hits.
Yeah, Let Love Rule's his debut, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So...
Yeah, what I realized listening to a lot of these songs is I really listened to most of the club mixes. I knew the songs from the club mixes that I heard in the dance clubs. When I was listening to some of these songs on the CD, I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, when I was at Manhole and they were playing Ray of Light, it was probably a club mix.
Yeah, her club stuff in the later ones. That's all I know is the singles. I don't know the whole albums of those later ones because they would be on in the club all the time. Girl Gone Wild and Celebration, and there was a couple others. One of them cleared a dance floor. What was the Clear Channel? Did a thing with one of her songs, tried to do a gimmick thing, and it totally backfired. I can't remember what the song. Give It to Me, maybe.
Oh yeah,
but I mean that cleared a dance floor. I've never seen a Madonna song clear a dance floor before. That one.
The song Bedtime Stories, I remember that from the clubs, and then listening to it on the CD, I'm like, okay, This is not
Totally
what I
different.
remember hearing in the clubs. It's still good, but
That
What's
video,
the one with the ABBA sample?
that's Hung Up.
Hung Up, yeah, that one was on all the time too. I'd
see,
go
I
and play in
love
the jukebox.
Confessions on a Dance Floor.
I'd play
I
the
love
ABBA
that.
"Gimme Gimme a Man After Midnight." It would come on, and a lot of people. Oh, wait, what's this?
Oh, that's not Madonna. Who's
Right.
stealing Madonna's?
Yeah, why is ABBA remaking Madonna?
That
Good
Confessions
times.
got me through a very traumatic breakup. So, but I agree, Craig, that New York is
Terrible.
It's a yeah. But the rest of the album, I just
I really like the music of that song, but yeah, the lyrics. I don't want to go to New York because I don't want to be a dork or whatever. It's like,
yeah.
girl.
Well, and she ended up being a dork by singing that.
Yeah, yeah. So I have this beautiful picture disc, right, of Immaculate Collection, which apparently is not an official release, and it's only,
really
yeah,
That
it's
sounds
only-
great.
it's
like the Beatles' "Hey Jude."
It's only on one. It's only on one disc, and actually, what they did, it says "Rescue Me" is on it, which is one of the new songs for this. It's not on there, first off, but it says back here it's on there. And then what they've done with this is they've taken the second verse out of every single song.
Oh wow,
Reader's
the old
Digest
K-Tel
version.
thing.
to make it fit on one. So
Wow.
then, of course, I had to get this, so I had everything. And it has "Rescue Me" on it. But
And "Justify My Love," that was the other new song for the Immaculate
Yep,
Collection.
that's-
Bruce
that's-
Springsteen
that's-
did that same thing so that he could do that Super Bowl show. He removed like a couple lines of lyrics from songs so that he could get all the songs that he wanted to play during the halftime show.
Really?
And nobody noticed.
So I think it's time for our scenario. What record would you pull? And it's Craig this time who has the scenario.
It's me. So,
Oh dear.
all right. So, you're trying to get, your romance on. You're trying to get, you have a caller coming over, and you want a little, maybe, I don't know, maybe some fornication, and you are trying to woo them and trying to, what are you going to play? You've got your wine, you've got your, future boo, your current
Poppers.
boo, you got your poppers, you got your 12-foot dildo.
Don't need that.
Oh my god.
I don't have one of those, but
Whips and chains.
so what is going to impress them?
Okay.
To get.
So I'm because you're not clear whether this is just a trick or someone that you're really trying to be romantic.
It
with.
sounds like it's not a grinder. hookup.
It sounds
No,
like it's not a
grinder.
a
This
long-term
sounds like-
relationship.
This is
No,
like
you're actually trying to have a date. Like you're trying to end for. Like
Okay. Okay.
But this is not
But-
somebody
but
you're
he's already
already
back
in a
at-
relationship with.
I
Is
mean,
what we're saying.
it could be.
Well,
Maybe it's
already
still,
back
and
in
you
your
need a.
house.
You
It's,
need
this
a
is
Right.
this is the third date.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I went with first date.
Yeah. I was thinking of first or second, but
I've never been on a date. Is it strange?
Dates suck.
Hey.
Well, I shouldn't say that. I've tried like a couple of times. I didn't understand what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go out to a restaurant and then both sit there and eat and then talk at
And
the
try
same
to have
time
a
and get to know each other with a bunch of food in your mouth. I'm not into that.
I preferred coffee. If I was going to
Robert?
do going to like a coffee shop is better than like trying to eat food. Plus,
I don't really
I'm-
do the date
I'm
thing.
with you. Dating is the worst.
I don't
I
know
don't
what to
get
do
it.
with that.
I just don't get it. I'd rather just go drink a 6-pack and hang out and listen to
I'd
music.
rather just meet you at the bar and
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
go from there.
Go to the back room.
right?
Well, parking lot or home or wherever, but it starts with just hanging out in the clubs and not going to Chili's. I actually thought that's what you were supposed to do: is go to Chili's and go to
And get some baby back ribs.
right or
I-
whatever. And that doesn't.
I
I'm
love
not into
Well,
that.
what's the Murphy's or what was that chain restaurant? Carlos Murphy's.
Kenny Rogers Roasters.
So like a first
Oh, I
first date with somebody. We went to Carlos Murphy's, and he almost did not want to see me for a second date because we went to Carlos Murphy's.
Oh.
Well,
But he
Well,
did.
that's not the
that
kind of
turned
person
into
you
a-
need in your life anyway. It's going to
Yeah.
judge you by a restaurant.
Yeah, get the hell out.
All
Who's
right.
first?
Not me.
No, it's not you. You're the scenario
Okay.
guy.
Yeah.
I've got
scenario
two.
maker.
I've got two options: one for the hoe and one for the potential boyfriend.
Should have done the hoe.
But it's still the first. It's still an early relationship. It's not somebody that you've been in a relationship
No, you've
for 3
not.
years. Is the
Like,
point.
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, unless you want to rekindle, you're trying to rekindle something.
No.
But let's just go with being hoes and
Yeah.
And-
Let's go with what we're
or
familiar
we're
with.
trying to
here.
woo somebody.
Let's not try to
that we
branch
don't-
out.
Yeah,
Not here.
Play characters.
Yeah.
Let's be ourselves.
My cat
Well, they're
just
both
woke up.
applicable. I'm just
Wow.
one of them would be for
Somebody's got
someone I
9
don't
inches
expect
ready
to see
to go.
another time, and then
Did you see
one
that?
is for someone I do expect to see another time.
Yes.
Come on.
Oh, we ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
All right. Shall I go first?
Please.
For the person that I would hope that I'm going to see another time, to set the mood, I'm going to pull out my Billie Holiday.
Mm.
So
Nice.
the pretty safe record to put on because none of all the songs are going to be good. They're very smooth. They're very romantic. They're all about love, and so yeah.
Just like you.
If
Mm.
if it was a person that I wasn't expecting to see again for a second date or whatever, I'm going to throw on one of these compilations from a series I have. It's called Peak Hour. All right. So this is an old, it's a dance mix, and it's got I'm Not in Love by Olive, Cover Me by Sunscreen, Stronger, Christine W., Better Off Alone, LSDJ.
So it's
Everybody-
bathhouse music.
Yes, I would be playing
Oh, I
bathhouse
see.
music.
That's what they play at bathhouses.
Yeah.
I just heard.
Oh, okay. I mean, I
Disco
would.
It says that on the back of the CD. This is played at Bathhouse. That's how we know.
It has my favorite mix of Amber's sexual.
Oh, Amber. I forgot all about
So
her.
those are my two go-to
I haven't heard that song in a
for
week.
romancing and dancing.
Wow.
It used to be every week.
Okay,
Okay,
who's
so if you're going to, I've often heard, by the way, that straight people use sex in hopes. No, straight people use love in hopes of getting sex, and gay people use sex in hopes of getting love.
Oh,
Anyway,
that'll be the title of this video.
I would throw on Leon Haywood just to let them know that it's going to be some fucking going on. That I don't want to confuse you with Billie Holiday. I don't
Wow.
want to throw on something romantic. It's time to have sex.
I
And so you can't take it too far with something like a Barry White because it gets silly. That's silly to me. That's over the top. So you have to meet in the middle somewhere. Come on and get yourself some from Leon Haywood is a perfect way to let somebody know this is what I would like to do. I want to get freaky with you. I want to do something freaky with you. Come and get yourself some. The feeling is rated X. Every song is basically saying, are we going to do this or what? And then once because this is a this is like
is that Terry's favorite album?
no, I don't think Terry's ever heard this album. But
Wow. Okay.
but it's a record and it's like what 20 minutes aside. So this is this is foreplay. This is letting you know what's going to happen. And then when it comes time to go to Pound Town, just like Richard, same idea. It's time to throw on some club mixes. This is the Best of House Volume 1, and yes, he has heard this. This was our first
He heard it
Sandstorm is our song. I think I've mentioned that before. People have, what's your song? Oh, our song is, Love is a Beautiful Thing. Our song is Sandstorm by Darude. And it is the first track on here. And I really have a problem having sex with a bunch of lyrics going on and I'm not going to have sex to like the Beatles or some kind of thing that I really like. That's just distracting. I just want music playing. I want music pumping and a CD because I don't want to have to get up and turn records over and all that kind of thing. And you can just put this on repeat if you want to, and you can play forever. But
That's
yeah,
what house and trance music is for.
I mean, you've got like Amber and stuff. None of this stuff even has lyrics. So this is, Yeah,
That's
I don't want to be
that's
distracted by
bathhouse music.
Yes, I don't want to be distracted by lyrics. I just want to hear things like "Do It Again" from Razor and Guido, the final chapter from I have no idea what that is. "Stomp to the Beat." I'll just do song titles: "Freight Train," "Blackout." The best of house. Volume 1 would be what I would put on second. I would already have it in the CD player and just kind of take the remote and switch
Ready
from
to go.
phono to CD and push play and hopefully repeat.
Wow. I would do. First of all, can I get rid of this cat?
Bye, kitty.
You have to leave me alone during these videos. The romantic evening, we're on the sofa, we're having some wine. Maybe we went out to dinner and we're having a nightcap. I would go with "Dreamin' with Dino." Dean Martin, an intimate Dean Martin.
Oh,
I love this record. This is a great record, actually. It's terrific. Everybody knows somebody. I'm confessing. Baby, won't you come home with me? It's just who is slicker than Dean Martin? Who's drunker than Dean Martin? But no, this is a terrific record. I love this. So that would be my warming them up. And then, that would be it. I mean, but if it's a night, or night out, we're at the bar, we're having some drinks, we're listening to music, whatever. Wants to come home. 9 Inch Nails.
Yeah, that's some wishful thinking.
The debut
band name right there,
right? Yeah.
Right.
If you come home with me and you like this record, if I put this on and you love this record, it's over. We got some.
Got it. We having a party.
Yeah. Yeah, but what a wonder! This is a great Dean Martin record.
Head like a hole. Wow.
Black as your soul.
I'd rather die than give you control. So much for that fantasy. And they'd be like, "Oh, okay, we're not doing that."
We're not listening to the lyrics. Trust me.
I can't get away from lyrics, though. I just would be. What do you mean? So you don't want? Why are you playing that?
All of you are very lyrical based. I'm more. When I listen to music, I listen to like the instruments and the music and everything before I listen to the lyrics.
And then Terrible Lie, because you said 9 inches, and this
that's when
Terrible Lie.
That's when this CD comes in, because there's no lyrics.
Does that
Mix
say
this
pussy? Pussycat. Oh.
Twist this pussy.
Right
sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I would start it because I feel like there's a closer, which we're not going to be like wild here, but
Get wild.
I would start with some Sade because that is just it, especially this particular record. And then it's a good
record.
And then when because I've already impressed them with Sade, then I'm going to go ahead and impress them with this. And this is actually, this combination, I didn't even think about it until now, but this combination has worked for me before. So, and then we
this is tried and true.
Yep. Yeah, it's your song. So, and then more Chiba's Big Calm, which this whole album to me is sex. So,
wow.
Well, if it's called Big Cum, I mean,
no, Big Calm, CALM.
Oh.
Well,
go from 9 inches to Big Cum.
Big calm is what happens after sex, right?
Yes.
What?
Well, I mean, you.
No, we're not after. Wait. Come back.
Get some,
He
go
says while
again.
He puts the pussy back in his lap.
Yes.
Yeah, get your pussy out of your lap.
Am I blushing?
Kind of.
No, your hat's too red to tell.
Oh, good.
I'm always blue. I always look like a corpse on this video. I don't know what. I'm like all blue.
Maybe you're
it's the lighting. I need to step back here.
Then you're in the shadows.
I can't see you.
Yeah. Okay, well, that takes care of that. Thank you for that
Fornication!
Yay!
So hopefully we've given you some ideas about what you can accomplish, with just the right type of music.
Yeah. We're giving people ideas, recommendations.
We're helping
Yeah,
you.
whether you want
Dean
something
Martin.
romantic and old-fashioned like Dean Martin, or you want something tropically romantic to take you to a romantic paradise like Sade, or you just
Or you just want to, with 9-inch nails.
yes.
Which another
They
9-inch nails came to mind. Closer, but just that
Ooh,
song. Closer. Yeah.
Pigs.
Yeah.
Okay, what are we doing now?
Well, I think you've got the scenario for next time. So
I am. I'm doing
that'll
the
be
scenario,
fun.
and I already have it figured out.
And it's going to be a live scenario.
Oh,
we'll
it
have
will.
a review
Yes.
of
Yeah.
Phantasmo and
Phantasmagora Flow, whatever. Phantasma. Yeah.
We'll have all kinds of surprises for the
and
live.
the biggest thing of all,
spectacular.
though, will be live Saturday
That's
at 5:30. I'll have to do like a scroll that goes on the bottom so everybody knows. And will we have a contest as well?
Yeah, we were talking about that.
We're gonna
Yeah.
do that. Yeah.
Yeah, with was it $2,000 Amazon gift card or was it $20?
I thought it was 8,000.
That will be lost in the mail.
Yes.
Sorry, it got lost.
I got one of those ones
I-
for winning a contest.
So like what, a $20 Amazon gift card? Is that what we said? So you can buy one Steely Dan
You
song.
can't even buy a Steely Dan with $20.
So yeah, that's next Saturday at 5:30, which, if you're confused, would be the 15th.
15th.
Saturday, October 15th is the time, is the date, 5:30 Central Time. We're all in the same time zone, which is Central
are.
Time.
Yep.
And so we always just kind of say the time and then forget, oh yeah, there's people on the other side of the world.
We are
So,
the central of time.
Does anybody know the
Central.
Marian time with that immediately? Isn't it minus 6 hours?
GMT
GMT
is
is
4. No,
4?
I do this on my videos for my live streams. I always put Greenwich Mean Time.
so it's 1:30 p.m.
If I do my live stream at 11 a.m. Central Time, it's 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time.
Slick plug, very slick.
Wow.
Yeah.
I barely caught it.
Yeah. it was
I
well
did.
done.
Did it all.
So yeah, you can Google that, and otherwise we'll
5
see you
hours.
at 5:30 on Central Time on October 15th, the Saturday. So hopefully you'll join us for our second
That'll be fun.
live, because you never know what's going to be not ever shown again on these live things. You definitely
true.
want
Oh.
the homo FOMO will be in full force. You don't want to miss out. Once
You
again,
know.
thank you so much for watching. We are the Vinyl Community Guncles. I am Robert Fithen, along with
Richard at Calvin Wazoo.
Craig's Vinyl Plethora.
And Mike at Hub Tunes.
Thank you so much again for watching. Please consider subscribing so you don't miss anything, and like the video if you liked it.
Yep.
Please leave a comment if you've heard Peter Gabriel's Security, or if you plan on listening to the Fantastic Four, or
Yeah.
whatever that was
We
that
have a-
Richard...
We have a lot of
Phantasm by Cornelius.
Asthma. Cornelia.
we have a lot of new
Phantasm.
subscribers, by the way, and a lot of new commenters. And thank you
Oh,
to every
thank
one
you.
of you
Yes,
guys.
thank you.
Yes.
We always appreciate the comments.
Yeah, we got a lot of new people and a lot
Welcome
of comments.
aboard.
Yes,
All right.
welcome for this weird ride.
Thanks again, and we will see you live next week.